Superman once owed the IRS $1 billion. That's billion with a B. This was in issue 148 of Superman back in 1939. So actually, if we adjust for inflation, he owed the IRS $23,240,863,309.35. Basically, the story starts out with an IRS agent pointing out that every time Superman does a good deed, he collects a reward. He also theorizes that Superman is constantly finding buried treasures and can crush coal into diamonds and therefore is amassing untold wealth. Now, the IRS agent does acknowledge that Superman donates every reward he's ever been given. However, he points out that you can only claim up to 15% of donations on your taxes. Because Superman has never paid a cent in taxes, he's a tax evader. Later, Superman is helping collect donations for the local fire department, and the IRS agent literally throws himself off of a building so that Superman will catch him and he can trap him. The agent then explains to Superman that he owes $1 billion and taxes are due by noon tomorrow or the FBI will arrest him. And Superman, being the law-abiding citizen that he is, says, yeah, okay, and tries to find $1 billion. He takes an old abandoned fortress, fills it with ivory, has Bizarro help him turn the ivory into ivory soap, tries to turn a bunch of coal into diamonds. He goes to Aquaman to see if Aquaman has anything worth money. He uses a growth serum to try to make giant pearls, takes some sunken treasure and some old paintings. He's even going to sell a giant creature that he hatched from earlier in the comic. Unfortunately, though, that creature ends up being a matter eater and eats all the treasure that he had gathered. So as a last-ditch effort, he tries to turn in a check from the Bank of Krypton. Of course, the IRS agent turns that down. It turns out that the check was all a gag orchestrated by that agent's boss. And the agent's boss points out that everyone is entitled to a $600 deduction for every dependent that they have. And because the whole world depends on Superman, he actually has billions of dependents. The boss points out that once you add up all the deductions, he has no taxable income. In fact, the IRS actually kind of owes him. The agent shakes his hand and says, I knew you couldn't be a tax evader, and all is well. The golden age of comics sure were a weird time.